Have you ever asked yourself, why do I keep falling for the same type of person? Even when you promise yourself, I'll never do that again. But somehow it does, and you do. Well, what if I told you this isn't just about bad luck? It's about how your brain has recognized what love is. Welcome back, namaste, my friends, to Everyday Consciousness. And in my previous video, I talked to you about the importance of choosing ourselves instead of abandoning ourselves, waiting for someone else to fulfill us in every way possible. So in this occasion, I would like this to go a little bit further. And the first step I would like to address is because our brain loves familiarity. It feels safe repeating the same patterns of thoughts, the same types of people. Not because we want to judge them, it's just that their energy, the repetitive motion and thought, and the familiar ground it finds feels safe. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy, right? It says, oh, well, I've been there before, so let's keep on doing it because I just feel safe there. So my nervous system, or our nervous system, if you can relate to that, can confuse familiarity with love. Here I'm addressing the affectionate part of our lives regarding partners, but you can apply it to any other aspect in your life, at work, amongst your friends. Some friends are not very positive in the sense that they criticize, or they're not really happy about how you're doing, and you're familiar with them. You've been with that friendship for such a long time that just saying, I don't like your comment, or something feels odd. But since you've been so familiar with that thought, with that relationship, with that pattern of even your speech, what you talk to them about, it feels so familiar that you feel that, oh well, they're listening, that's love, they're judging, they're expressing their feelings. Call it a friend, a client, or your special person. One day they text you and the next day they disappear. Why is that? Is it some kind of control they're trying to share with us, to exert in our beings? And then they come back. Must they have emotional instabilities within themselves? It's very hard to discern, to describe what everybody is thinking. So our brain begins chasing that next emotional reward. When am I going to get that motivation, that text, that call from my friend, my colleague, my special person, to feel accepted, to feel loved? And when we get it, then, oh, I feel chosen again. That person must like me a lot, so then I can feel accepted. Why is it that we feel so attached to that reward? We can reward our own selves by doing the things we love. What do you love to do? In my case, I love surfing. Every time I can, I just grab my surfboard and I just go into the water. I exercise, I sing. Do you do you love to learn languages? Do you love to read books? I know it's important to receive that reward from that special person, but when we start detaching from that, then it starts, that feeling, that addiction to that dopamine cycle starts to fade. And also, self-worth is very important to address. If that person chooses me, texts me, flirts with me, calls me, then I'll feel worthy. But it doesn't really come from somebody else's approval. It comes from your own self. What does that person bring into my own chemical wiring in my body that makes me feel accepted? So if you think about it, it's all about you, not about the other person. So let's create feelings and thoughts that really enhance that self-approval, regardless of what happens outside. There's also a fear of abandonment and the feeling of being alone, which, if you divide that word, it means all one. So we're all interconnected in a way. And why do we stay in painful situations and painful relationships? It's because we're being afraid of being lonely, but we're not lonely. It's just the fear of, what am I going to do next if that person isn't right next to me? There's so many things to do, guys. There's so many things to do very far away if you can't afford it. That's another topic of interest that I would like to address, the topic of abundance. But you can pay yourself an excursion, a short excursion in the near neighborhood. It doesn't have to be a long excursion. A walk in nature, if you have any dogs, walking your dog is also a beautiful therapy. So, in truth, we don't really need anybody because we're already complete as we are. Nobody will walk for us, eat for us. So, let's start detaching from that emotional clinging and start really going deep within. The most important journey is going within. It's not about what's happening out there. There's a battle out there for our attention now. I want to have your attention, which is why we see so many things all around us, noise, people, advertisements everywhere. That also strikes our dopamine levels. One very important aspect, just to wrap up, is the topic of self-awareness. I think we talked about it in our last video. And when we become aware of, wait a minute, what am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling depleted? Why am I thinking that this person will fulfill me when myself, I am full as I am the universe? The practice of Qigong is very important, or yoga as well, meditation. Some sort of breath work practice can also enhance the connectivity with us, the feeling of unity. And when we have that feeling of unity, then there is nothing out there that can disturb our happiness, our joy, and our sense of fulfillment. The moment we start recognizing our habits and destructive habits, starting off with our thought patterns, is when the magic happens. So today I'd like to invite you and ask yourself, am I attracted to emotional availability or to emotional intensity? What practices am I doing on a daily basis to enhance my self-worth, my self-awareness, my sense of unity, my sense of not feeling abandoned? I would love to hear from you, and you might be surprised of what you might find. Every time you write something down on paper, it makes the world of a difference. It's not the same thinking about it or writing it on your phone, but writing it on paper and taking the time to do it. And guys, healing isn't just about finding the perfect partner, because even if you find the perfect partner, there's always room for improvement. There's always change. People change. You change. So we will always be in a state of evolution, in a state of chemical fluctuations. I think I've given you some very important points to think about and integrate into your daily lives. And if this video has helped you, I would love to hear from you in the comments. And remember that awareness is where healing begins. Until next time, my friends, be well, stay healthy, and namaste. Thank you.